Hello guys, welcome back to the second part to learn function in C statement. Please, before watching this video, make sure that you already watched the video that you can find here in this link to introduce the function in C statement. So, the user-defined functions are created by the user and we call them exactly user-defined function. You can create as many user-defined functions as you want and as you need in your program. The user-defined functions are based on 4 parts. We have function prototype, function call, function definition, and return statement. We have to understand very well all those parts to be able to use function in C or in any other programming language. So the first thing, we will start by the function prototype. So what is this function prototype? It's simply declaration of function. Like we used to declare, for example, a variable. Before using this variable, we used to declare it like int a, int number, int maximum, etc. Function also we have to declare those functions before using them. So it's simply the declaration of function that specify functions name, parameters, return type. It doesn't contain function body. It's just declaration of function. A function prototype gives the information to the compiler that the function will be used in the program. There is a syntax to use for the function prototype. We have the first thing, we have to write the return type, the function name, and after the parameters or the argument if we have. For example, here in this example, we have a function prototype. We have here the return type, integer. The function name is add numbers, and this function needs 2 parameters. We have to give the type of the first parameter, the name, the type of the second parameter, and the name also. The second part is the calling function. As we said in the previous video that you can find in this link, the function must be written outside of the program, outside of the main function. So if we want this function to be compiled, we have to call it in the main part. So the user-defined function will be executed only if we call it in the main part. So it will be executed in the main part of the program by calling this function. How we call this function? It's so simple, we call it by the name. Here, the syntax, we have to give the function name and the parameters, list of the parameters. We don't have to give the type, just the name of the parameters. For example, here we have function add number, and we have 2 parameters, n1 and n2. So if the compile will find this calling function in the main part, it will go out of the function, execute this function, and after go back to continue the program in the main part. We will see a complete example of this function later. The third part here, we have function definition. The function definition contains the block of code to perform a specific task. In our example here, we have add 2 numbers and return it. So here, the function definition is the body of the function. And I repeat again, it must be out of the main part. So here, the syntax must be like that. We give the return type, the function name, and the parameters type and name. This function line or function definition line must be exactly the same as the function prototype. So, for example, in the prototype here, if we wrote int add numbers, int a and int b, in the function definition it must be the same thing. We cannot here change to float, otherwise we will get an error. Here we will write the body of the function, and here we have a return type. Passing arguments to function. We have here in programming, arguments or parameters refers to the variable passed to the function. Function need some variables to be executed. For example, here to add 2 numbers, we need 2 variables. So we give the function 2 variables. It's the same here. We are giving 2 variables to the function to be able to execute some code. In the above example, 2 variables here. We have n1 and n2. When we will call the function in the main part, same parameter must be given. The name of the parameter can be changed, but if we here in the function, if we use two parameters, we must call this function by two parameters. If we used in the function here three parameters, same thing, when we call the function, we have to give three parameters. So it's according to the function. The number of the parameter change according to the function. Some function doesn't need any parameters. For example, here it can be empty. Some function need just one or two or three. The most important thing that you have to know, if you call the function with two parameters, in the function definition, we have to find two parameters. Now, the return statement. The return statement, it's terminate the execution of the function and return a value to the calling function. So here, in our example, the function will give us a result, will give us the result of adding two numbers. So this function must give this return to the main function. That's why here the return type, if it's int, the return here must be int. If the return here is float, this result must be with type float. Okay, so here the return statement is changeable according to the program. I hope you understand the main idea of the function. Now we will pass in the next video to start a full program, how to use function and how to apply that in the program. So thank you so much for listening and see you in the next video.